Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a very good one here today, as it's two of the bots that get a lot of updates. One of them more so, well, has a longer streak, I'll say, than the other. But we have got BenBot BC, been featured many times on this channel because it is a hoot to watch. And taking it on is kind of one of the newer upstarts that's been having some clear progress made lately. It is WickedBot. The bot author sends in a lot of replays, but this is a random one off the ladder. And so we'll see how it is. Before we get too deep into it, though, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead, slap that like button. If we can get one like for every 8 p.m. in this game, that would be amazing. That would be something for sure. And then leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. YouTube comments help us with the YouTube bot. So I don't know, just write your diary in there or whatever. It can be the random thought off the top of the dome. It doesn't matter. And then subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We put out daily bot videos here on the channel. And yeah, we'll probably be doing so for the foreseeable future as there's just constant updates on these bots. We're getting the new patch. It's very exciting. And yeah. If you guys do want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube member. We are rolling out a new perk for YouTube members on the channel where I will send a hard-boiled egg to your house once a month if you choose to support the channel. Now, we do have, jokes aside, a rush starting for BenBot as it went for its bunker rush here, but WickedBot just pulled... I think literally all the boys in order just to say, die bunker, die. So in order to get up its own bunker, and it doesn't actually get up its own bunker, unfortunately, as its Reaper was a coward and kind of retreated more than it needed to. I mean, we can talk about that, whether the Reaper really was being a coward or not. But I guess the logic behind that is just that Reapers are meant to avoid damage, and I think the Marines for BenBot were turning to shoot it, so it was just trying to avoid that. We do get WickedBot resuming the bunker. I will say that it didn't pull a worker off the line immediately to resume the bunker, as that is something that, like, if there was a follow-up to that rush or something, it could have been a little bit concerning. Now we do have the Reaper of WickedBot getting some nice work done. It's killed the 2 Marines so far, and now it's setting about some SCVs. However, BenBot does produce a Hellion. It's got very good programming in order to defend the main base, so that Hellion heads on over there to clean up that Reaper, but the Reaper actually chases the Hellion off as it must have hit an HP threshold, and so that Reaper does terrorize the main base of BenBot a little bit longer, but all in all, BenBot was punished very minimally. Despite not having anything in its main base, we saw those SCVs just being a simple response to repair and keep each other alive, so that was nice. Behind this, we do have WickedBot with a slight economic lead over BenBot. I say very slight, as it's just like 2 workers difference, and then the orbital being done for WickedBot earlier is definitely good. But yeah, a very respectful opening, I guess, in the sense that we have got a lot of potential here for either bot to do well in this game as it progresses. We got BenBot driving around. It's a little Hellion just scouting around here on Pylon, the AI edition. Then we do have an eBay on the way up for BenBot as well, getting out a starport. So potential air units coming out of both of these bots as WickedBot is finishing up its own starport. But this is going to get really interesting, and it could be very exciting for this match because WickedBot is a bot that plays bio, whereas BenBot is traditionally more mech. I mean, it's funny because BenBot's obviously known for building the battle cruisers, but it does supplement its army with bio a fair bit at times, so we'll see just how much of that it's going to go for. WickedBot is like the bio bot, though, with Medivacs and just mass Marines. It doesn't go for a lot of factories or other things like that. We have Benbot saying it's going to build a nice little tank. Get up Infernal Pre-Igniter, a Raven on the way. We do have the safety turrets from Benbot, keeping itself nice and safe from harassment. Not just one, but two at that natural base. Do we get a second in the main? No, that's interesting positioning there, but very respectful. As a bot author, it's got to be a nightmare to try and program smart defense in your bot, and turrets take a lot of the legwork out of that. Particularly when you take into account the fact that there's bot-controlled Banshees that have pretty darn good micro and will harass you endlessly if you have holes in your defense. Benbot, though, turtling up pretty hard, going for its 4th turret. That definitely has an impact on the economy, and so that's something we've got to look out for, and it potentially does mean that WickedBot has had this quicker command center as the little things add up. We've got 1-1 on the way for WickedBot. Benbot does have its 3rd building, but there we go, another turret being invested in. That's like very good for defending against certain harassment, but WickedBot is a bot that drops, so we'll see whether those turrets are able to potentially catch some derpy Medivacs or not. Otherwise, like, if this was a human play, if WickedBot could potentially just get a drop inside Benbot's main, it would be disastrous, and that is one of the things that WickedBot does very well, which is actually why I clicked on this replay. How well can Benbot defend if its potential, or if its front wall is potentially outflanked, which is something that it's really structured on. So this will definitely be an interesting one. We do have a tank in a rather nice position, and WickedBot actually decides to try and crash the front gate. So there goes all my talk about fancy drops and things like that. However, it actually makes it decently far. It gets through one bunker. We'll take down a turret. It's not focusing the tank, but I mean, not a terrible trade, at least getting the bunker. Definitely not great, as the bunker, the turret, do not cost as much as 21 Marines, and the Marauder too, so that's very good for Benbot. If WickedBot had gone for a drop, I think we could potentially be looking at a nice advantage for the Blue Terran. Instead, Benbot is allowed to live. We'll see. WickedBot is loading some units up into its Medivacs, but the Hellion for Benbot kind of distracts a little bit. WickedBot really getting distracted by that. A single Hellion distracts the bio, delays that drop. It's one of those things that you do have to consider when it comes to having your units chase after another unit. Like, is this a waste of time type thing? Or and that's why some bots have waits for that kind of thing, which is why you can sort of say, okay, this doesn't meet a very high threat threshold, so don't react too much to it. We do have one of those Hellions getting stimmed on by all the bio. Combat shield is about to finish up for WickedBot. Looks like it will be just in time before this fight really gets too far, so it does finish up. The Marines for WickedBot are coming on in. They do have 1-1 upgrades, which is very nice. Benbot is kind of sandbagging, immediately trying to rebuild that bunker. This tank is actually in a fair bit of trouble. Will the Marauders get it? Yes, they do. So that's really, really nice, as WickedBot kind of scratches the surface of Benbot a little bit. Behind this, though, the economy is quite good for WickedBot. It's got 4 bases established. One of them is a planetary, so it's not getting a ginormous economic lead because of the lack of the extra mule there than, say, if it had gone for those. But still, it's got the extra base, which is actually still quite a nice economic lead. But so WickedBot in a very nice spot. We'll see, though, as that lead may diminish soon, as Benbot is getting out a 4th base of its own. WickedBot's got a 5th building. It is a bot that is very willing to throw up command centers, and we do actually get a bot drop going on in here. There is plenty of starports producing here, but I'm not sure if Benbot has enough on hand to easily deal with this. That turret being repaired is quite nice, as it gets some extra shots off on the Medivacs, which are so important for keeping this supplied or defended, pardon me. We do have the auto turret helping clean this up. Benbot spamming chat a little bit, I think, trying to throw down more auto turrets, but WickedBot's drop is getting some work done, and there's the reinforcements. That's a cool thing about WickedBot. It doesn't just go for like one drop once a game, it will reinforce them. The bio is not being healed to the max due to these Vikings and the heat that has been on the Medivacs a little bit. but they are still getting some healing going off, and the main base of Benbot really is in trouble. This is what I was talking about here, that Benbot can struggle with this kind of thing. A battle cruiser is about to pop out. We'll see if that aids the defense, and I mean, 1 BC is pretty darn good. This is a lot of Marines for Wickedbot, but I'm not sure they'll be able to get it or not, and it looks like Wickedbot does elect to retreat. One of the medivacs gets shot out of the skies, the other one flies over a danger zone. Wickedbot's coming towards the 4th base of Benbot. But we do have, yeah, Wickedbot taking some more losses, retreating, but it did kill off a few starports. How many died there? 3 starports in total is really, really nice for the Blue Terran to hamper Benbot's production. Meanwhile, we do have 3/3 upgrades on the way for Wickedbot, so that's going to make this bio oh so powerful. And then Wickedbot is going into its own Viking production. We are getting a fusion core too from the Blue Terran. Oh, I do cringe a little bit. I think we may be getting some potential traps for the bio. Looks like a battle cruiser engages Marines on the map, does have to be teleported out. Wickedbot is moving forward towards this 4th base. There is not a tank sieged up there. It's moving on in, it sieges up, but it is vulnerable, so many SCVs are going to have to repair this planetary. It does not have building armor, actually, not quite done yet, so Wickedbot may crack this planetary, and it does indeed go down, so that is a huge, huge blow to Benbot, as Wickedbot is just being so aggressive here. And I mean, I guess it's been getting enough done, really containing Benbot, taking well enough trades. Yamato Cannon kills off a Viking, but I really do like Wickedbot adding in its own Vikings to counter this. And then 20 Marines at a time does pretty darn well against battle cruisers, particularly when the upgrades are so good for Wickedbot. Right now, I mean, it's 2-2 against, I guess, just like one upgrades for Benbot. 1-1-1, whatever you want to call it on the mech. But soon it's going to be 3-3 against 2-2, which, I mean, is still going to be very nice. Wickedbot is just about maxed out. We do have units stuck in these barracks here, which does make me a little bit worried for Wickedbot, as units being trapped has definitely lost bots games in the past. But still, it's a really darn good spot, as Benbot is struggling to keep its production up. It's building lots of Vikings. I'm not sure it needs that many, as it really needs more tanks in order to deal with all this bio. Wickedbot is moving on in. This base is already gone, and now it could potentially pivot towards that natural base. The natural is quite the fortress there, but I mean, the bunker could potentially die fairly quickly. We do have Wickedbot having a bit of pathing issues as the bio tries to get under these Vikings here, but a decent chunk of the army is actually going through that bunker. The tanks are shooting away for Benbot. SCV's repairing is massively important to hold this line. Vikings are engaging, and I mean, the air battle, I guess, is actually fairly important, as it does mean that the medivacs of Wickedbot could be picked off of Benbot takes the lead on that, so Wickedbot's still adding in lots of Vikings. Ridiculous bio production right now. And then, oh, we may actually have some of these trapped Marines getting saved by medivacs. Another drop could be getting queued on up here, which would be a little dicey for Benbot to defend, but I think it probably could handle it, just like a double drop or something like that. But man, oh man, Wickedbot, it has no signs of slowing down here, as it's taking more and more bases off an 83 SCV economy. Whereas Benbot will be starting to dry out on 3 bases, so it really needs to reestablish this 4th. And getting this base as a planetary is going to be massively important for Benbot. If this base can become a planetary, now it's got building armor, ideally a tank set up there, and we do have one going around the long, long way around for Benbot due to its own SimCity and tanks. Meanwhile, it looks like there's a bit of an engagement there, as Vikings are being chased away by Wickedbot. You don't want to lead this bio to this base, and we may be seeing that happening, and that tank is so slow to get over there. Benbot's repositioning everything, but yeah, I mean, layout is difficult to do as a Terran. That tank would have been sieged up had it not had that pathing issue. The planetary is just about done, but there's not enough SCVs here to repair it, so Wickedbot is going to pick that off. And then Yeah, Benbot gets knocked down to 4 bases once again. It does have a sneaky 5th building down here. If that can get up, that could be a potential lifeline here. Only 2 tanks there. Another one is pathing out. It does at least start sieging up when it gets close to the units, but then it still does go down and got a little too far forward there. Benbot is in some trouble as Wickedbot is trying to crash the gates. The Remax is pretty quick coming as well, as we got 22 Marines, 27 Marines building at a time. This looks like Xena's Terran build almost. Just with that ridiculous production that these bot economies can support. Just the speed mining just really amplifies your mining when you have a great number of bases, as you get that bonus at every base. We do have Benbot getting aggressive here. Pardon me, I still had chat off. Just due to the earlier spam. Not too much missed, but that BC does get way too aggressive. Tags jump enemy base. That was not the time to get aggressive, Benbot. We do have a big SCV transfer, but it's actually going to be getting found here, which is not ideal. So those SCVs are in so much trouble. That base isn't even turning into a planetary fortress. And I think Wickedbot has just done enough economic damage to prevent Benbot from swarming here and reaching that critical late game stage, which it's so good at. As Wickedbot's just been so active with this bio. Its bank is soaring now. It's reaching over 5,000 minerals a minute at some points. And that, yeah, that is something. And then we do have, yeah, just Wickedbot crashing the gates. I think Benbot is done for in this one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this match as much as I did, consider clicking that like button. If we can hit 50 likes on this video, that would be amazing. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And yeah, join the Discord, all that good stuff. I do see comments of people sometimes wanting help on how to program a bot. The place to go is not my Discord, but if you go to aiarena.net, there is a link to the Discord on that website, and there is a lot of helpful bot authors if you want to try your hand at programming a bot, which is a very fun challenge to do. There's a big ladder out there. There's bots of all sorts of levels, so your bot will not be alone if it's not the best at first. But there's lots of other bots out there that you can train against and learn from. So yeah, it's very cool. Well done by Wickedbot. I do kind of want to leave a disclaimer that I don't know how the games between Benbot and Wickedbot usually go. I did click on, I was about to cast a replay, which I did actually see the result, which was that Benbot got the win, but I didn't click on it just because when it comes to bots that are updated frequently, I do like to make sure I'm clicking on like the latest replays. So and the first one I was going to click on was a little bit older. So yeah, Benbot does win games against Wickedbot, and there is, of course, caster selection bias. But yeah, very good bots, both of these. Like, very great redundancy, all that good stuff. And that is going to be that for this one. No, a couple more buildings. GG.